This is the Red Sox POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Boston Red Sox, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, sometimes you just have to tip your cap. True confession, I'll admit right off the top, I couldn't wait for Tuesday night's game in Philadelphia to end. Down 4-0, it was over. But you know what? When I realized that Cristopher Sanchez might just go the distance against the Red Sox, I kind of wanted to see him finish it off. He did just that. A tip of the cap to Philly starting pitcher Cristopher Sanchez, who went the distance. And with that, we do welcome you into our latest Locked On Red Sox postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, longtime play-by-play announcer and storyteller. I've covered amateur, college, minor league baseball, college baseball, Major League Baseball on the radio and TV going back to 1997, the same year that Wally the Green Monster became the official mascot of the Red Sox. And no, we are not the same age. We are providing reaction every Red Sox game on the Locked On Red Sox YouTube channel. Our Locked On Red Sox postcast also available on the Locked On Red Sox podcast feed, which is free and available wherever you get your podcast. On our latest Locked On Red Sox postcast, we're going to discuss Richard Fitts and his outing. We're going to discuss for the second straight game the Phillies scoring a run on catcher's interference. Yeah, the rule book states that the game ended the way it should end on Monday night, and Bryce Harper, not a steal of home, but catcher's interference and a balk, and that made it 2-0 early on. Fitz gave up a couple more solo home runs, and the offense doing nothing, almost nothing. Ref Snyder touches up Sanchez for a home run. That was it. 1 run scored for the Red Sox. That's not going to win too many ball games. Audience participation, as you know, we want to hear from you, our Royal Rooters, our everydayers, and our first-timers. Hit that comment button and share your thoughts on tonight's loss for the Red Sox. If you're on board with us on the Locked On Red Sox YouTube channel, you can also hit me up on the X. Continue the baseball and Red Sox conversation there at Lennox on baseball with questions, comments, or concerns. So Fitz and Sanchez, the pitching matchup, and Sanchez, like Wheeler, except from the left side, shutting down the Red Sox offense for a second straight night.
This is what you'll be talking about.
The great, and I've used this line before, the great Ted Williams used to say the best way to hit a breaking ball is don't miss the fastball. Well, Cristopher Sanchez had a 3-pitch mix going against the Red Sox on Tuesday night, and that old adage, good pitching beats good hitting, well, we're seeing it. We saw it in the Cubs series with Imanaga and Ray, Friday and Saturday, and now we see it in the first 2 games of this series with Wheeler and Cristopher Sanchez. I like Sanchez last year. I mean, he's done a terrific job. And for him to come out of the All-Star break and just absolutely deal against the Red Sox, good for him. Didn't make the All-Star team. How? I don't know. And that's a thing of the past, so I really don't care at this point either. But he was terrific. Did not allow a base runner over the first 3 innings. Ref Snyder touches him up. First base runner for the Red Sox. Ref Snyder leadoff home run. That coming in the 4th inning. But Sanchez just cruising right along all night long, just setting the Red Sox down. And I have to admit right off the top here, I guess I was wrong, because I really thought, and Roman Anthony had a double last night against Zach Wheeler, but that's his only extra base hit of the series so far. I said on Sunday, I think the power's coming. Maybe it's a couple of home runs. Well, he might have to have a 2-home-run game and really might not be in the lineup against Jesus Luzardo, another lefty, on Wednesday. But Roman Anthony strikes out in the 9th inning. You're almost thinking pinch hit for him. Don't let him go down again. But 1 for 5, a double, 4 strikeouts against Wheeler in the bullpen on Monday night. And against Sanchez, it was ugly again. Sanchez strikes out 12, including Romy Gonzalez to end the ballgame. 12 strikeouts for Sanchez as he goes the distance with a complete game effort. And Roman Anthony taking the collar, batting in the number 2 spot, 0 for 4. And 4 strikeouts. The double, other at-bats in this series, hasn't put the ball in play. He has struck out 8 times in the series. It's not a good number. And for Roman Anthony, overall, putting the ball in play, hard contact. But in this series, he's been overmatched. Wheeler, breaking ball, slider, curveball, swung over the top of plenty of those on Monday night, and then it was the changeup. Left on left. Sanchez will throw that changeup to either side. Normally, you don't see a pitcher throw the changeup to the same side hitter. Him being a lefty, a guy like Roman Anthony, Yoshida, they saw changeups. And the right-handed batters just continued to try to pull and kept pulling off the pitch. I don't play a hitting coach here on the Locked On Red Sox postcast. But every changeup was down and away just about. Remember Bobby Ojeda, traded from the Red Sox to the Mets? Started with the Red Sox in the 1980s? His changeup, they used to call it the dead fish. And that was almost Sanchez just toying with it, just flipping it out there on the outer half of the plate, maybe an inch or two off, maybe right on the plate. Guys were just swinging. You want to call it pulling off, but, if you keep the shoulder in, simple, and go the other way, you might have been able to do something. But again, it's a game where the Red Sox hitters, did you really see any type of adjustment at the plate from anyone throughout the course of the night? You had your at-bats. You had plenty of them. And I mentioned Roman Anthony and his struggles in this series. Romy Gonzalez struck out to end the game. 28 strikeouts now for Phillies pitching in this series, and their bullpen is set up. They can go for the series sweep. They'll go for the series sweep on Wednesday with Lucas Giolito and Jesus Luzardo. But Rob Thompson can certainly empty out his bullpen going for the series sweep. Luzardo might go 5, and he might go with the bullpen the rest of the way. But Romy Gonzalez taking the collar. He's now 0 for his last 18. That's not good. You're expecting this guy to be in the lineup against right-handed pitchers, or left-handed pitchers, pardon me, and he's not getting the job done right now. So that that matchup, the right-handed lineup against lefties, Meyer, Duran, not in the lineup. Abreu, not in the lineup. Don't even get to the plate because Rob Thompson never had to go to the bullpen. The Red Sox had one opportunity the entire game against Sanchez with runners in scoring position. He struck out the side in the 6th inning, and at that point, I'm just saying he's going all 9. And he did. Threw 7 changeups to Toro, Refsnyder, and Anthony in that 6th inning where he struck out the side. Gonzalez retired in the 7th inning. Story had a base hit. Yoshida grounded out. If he wasn't striking hitters out, he was getting ground balls all night long. I don't think he had one ball. Did he have one ball in the air? Maybe one. You can look at it real quick on the box score here. But 12 strikeouts, 2 balls in the air the entire night. 13 ground ball outs, 12 strikeouts for Sanchez. I'm sorry, but those numbers, as somebody who doesn't play a hitting coach, once again here on the Locked On Red Sox postcast, those numbers right there tell me very few adjustments at the plate. Now, Fitz 3 1/3, 4 runs all earned. Another catcher's interference. Hey, why not just give Bryce Harper a steal of home? And why, there's a Nesson reference, Dave O'Brien, Lou Merloni. Finally, I think there was a note actually from New York, a press release as to the explanation as to how that play unfolded for the Phillies when Harper made it 2-0 in the 1st inning. Catcher's interference, the 2nd straight for Carlos Narvaez. Someone asked last night in the comment section, we do get to your comments here shortly, it's the 5th this season on Carlos Narvaez, 8th overall. That's too many. Throw those on the error column because that's an E2 every time. It's 8 errors right there just on catcher's interference this season from your catchers. That's present day catching. It's what they want to do. And you want to toss blame to Carlos Narvaez. He was right there in front of the cameras Monday night, took ownership of it. But it's an organizational thing too. People are telling him, this is how we're going to set up. This is how we're going to try to steal strikes. We're going to try to move up a little bit. We're going to try to steal that pitch. We're going to move the glove all around. And you want to ridicule umpires? That's fine. I don't like going down that road all that often. But I'll tell you what. And I believe I have it, Edwin Jimenez, the home plate umpire. Folks, he got the call right. He was on it. Based on the rule book. And they let the crowd know. Catcher's interference and a balk on Fitz. If Fitz had stepped off, and again, Dave O'Brien, Lou Merloni, give you a better explanation later on. Where Fitz had stepped off, now Narvaez can come to the plate. Differently, but he was still on the rubber. Then he stepped off, and he was working from the windup, I believe. I didn't go back and look at it, but he's from the windup. And Harper, are you kidding me? With a right-hander on the mound, left-hander? Harper took advantage of it. He's done that his entire career. He was looking to steal home. Good for him. Scores anyway, 2-0. Gives up 2 solo home runs in the next inning, 4-0, and it was over. But like I said, at one point I just thought, you know what? I want to see Cristopher Sanchez finish this off because I think he's got an opportunity to do it. And he did just that. Complete game, 1 run allowed, and he was terrific. He really was. And you tip your cap to him. He threw 106 pitches, 9 innings, 4 hits, no walks. That kept him on the mound for the 8th inning and the 9th inning. 0 walks. Not a lot of deep counts. Red Sox, to me, in many ways, going back to what they did in terms of their pitching or in terms of their hitting in the month of May. Let's hear from you. More numbers of the night. We'll continue. Locked On Red Sox postcast. And we are presented by Open Phone. Glad you're with us on our latest Locked On Red Sox postcast. On board within minutes of each and of the last out of each and every game throughout the course of the season. Hey, if you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had a service emergency, like a burst pipe. If the first plumber didn't answer, did you wait? No. You called the next plumber. You call the next one. That's why having a reliable business line is so important, and that's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone or on your computer. Did you juggle 2 lines just to keep business and personal calls separate? Open Phone solves that instantly. Your whole team can share one number and respond to customers like a shared inbox. No more yelling around the office, hey, who's handling this? And the AI agent handles after-hours calls, answers common questions as well, and captures leads so you're never going to miss a customer again. Open Phone right now is offering Locked On Red Sox postcast listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedonmlb. That's openphone.com/lockedonmlb. And if you have an existing number with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Locked On Red Sox postcast also presented by FanDuel. The summer is here. That's right. So, summer sports in full swing. Whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. With FanDuel, you can track your favorite matchups. The app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. FanDuel app is easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Whether you're placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet ride into the 9th inning, FanDuel makes it feel like you're part of the action. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Again, open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. So the Red Sox have not scored a whole heck of a lot of runs so far out of the gate, and for the second straight series, they need a win in the finale to avoid being swept. Giolito, keep pitching the way you've been pitching, and there'll be another lefty, Jesus Luzardo, off day on Thursday. Hey, right now you want 2-4 on this trip. It's not great, but you need a win just to get that. And you need to avoid being swept on the road for the 4th time this season. Swept in Detroit, swept in Milwaukee, swept in Anaheim. We said that on Saturday and Sunday. Red Sox picked up, comeback win on Sunday. You were feeling good. Now not so much. And the run total so far, they're just not pretty. Easy as that. You've scored a total of 10 runs over the first 5 games to open up out of the All-Star break. 3 for 26 and 28 runners left on base entering Tuesday. Well, that runners in scoring position number is now 3 for 27. You had just one opportunity with runners in scoring position against Cristopher Sanchez. To the comments we go. Who is our leadoff hitter? Let's get in here. I know this is not going to be pretty. Carlos. Well, bleep. Well said. I put that up there for a split second. Atom bomb, embarrassing. Sox can't hit good pitching. And you know what? It's embarrassing. It's frustrating because at this point, again, Bregman's not 100%, but Trevor Story all of a sudden has decided to go into another funk, right? I mean, July's almost over. Lou Merlone mentioned it during the broadcast. July 28th is on Monday. You get to the Minnesota series next week. You get to the trade deadline next Thursday, a week from this Thursday, and you're into August. So a shortened month with the 4 days for the All-Star break, that's in the rearview mirror. But come on. The people who came on here, the people on social media who said, well, they beat up on the Reds. Reds have good pitching. They beat up on the Nationals and Rockies. I didn't dismiss it entirely, especially when they swept the 4-game series against the Rays. But your point's valid. I wasn't dismissing it entirely, but I didn't want to give a lot of credence to it. Now you sort of have to. And you knew what this was going to be out of the All-Star break. Chicago, very good pitching, division leader until the Brewers overtook them. And now you've got the Philadelphia Phillies, 1-2 in the National League East with the Mets. You got the Dodgers coming to town. The Dodgers are trying to figure things out. Kershaw didn't walk away from the media, but just basically said, tonight I'm not talking because I'll get in trouble. Mookie Betts has had frustration this year. I don't know if it's all about moving positions and all of that. Freddie Freeman hit on the wrist recently. They've had all sorts of injuries. Tyler Glasnow apparently not happy with, just a 4-day All-Star break. And if you're an All-Star, then you don't really get a break. That's not going well on social media as well. But come on, you're professional hitters. You're big league hitters. Cristopher Sanchez, again, I started right off the top. Tip your cap to him. But come on, you've got to make adjustments during the course of that game. Didn't. And to a certain degree, embarrassed. He goes the distance. Again, great effort. But you couldn't get to him more than 4 hits and 1 home run off the bat of Rob Refsnyder. Carlos, at Adam, I agree. I sit there and watch them swing at practically every pitch, like if they're trying to hit a home run every time, as if they're all allergic to getting base hits. And there was that time, Bregman did it. Bregman had a base hit. Refsnyder had the home run in the 4th inning. Anthony struck out. Bregman reached with a single with 1 down. And at that point in time, you need multiple base hits to get Bregman around the bases. We saw it with Anthony's double on Monday night. He's not scoring all the way from first base. Even if he got the second, it might have taken 2 more hits. But he ends up getting stranded. I think he ended up getting stranded. Or no, he was forced out. As Story hit into an inning-ending fielder's choice, force out, and he saw 1 pitch in that at bat. But again, get back to hitting. Home runs are great. But again, you get to October baseball, you're not going to be able to rely on just hitting home runs. You're not. And you can't muster anything. Going down, as I occasionally say, taking the line from longtime minor league manager Billy Gardner, who at one point managed in the Red Sox system. Sometimes hitters just go down, that lineup going down like soft bleeping rain. George, you're up in the lineup tonight. I like it. Fitz uncompetitive. 12 Ks today, 10 Ks yesterday against Wheeler. No walks. I threw that Wheeler thing in there. Awful hitting approach. Yeah. And again, this is where I don't put it on the hitting coach and the plan. I put it on the hitters not adjusting. I mean, you look in the dugout. They're looking at video. Lou Merlone said it. They're going after Fitz and that slider. And Fitz didn't seem competitive. He didn't. They talked about his fastball. It was mid-90s, and he's a guy who wants to throw 100. Where was it? 14 days off. You thought, maybe he'd be over-amped up. He was not inspiring at all, and that's not good. George, Sanchez is what a number 2 looks like. That's a great point right there. Thank you, George. Yeah. We have no one but a bunch of number 3, 4, and 5s at best. I can't argue with that. I mean, Giolito, you want him to continue pitching well. Because even, Giolito, Buehler even saying after his outing, and it was a strong outing on Monday night, still doesn't feel like he's out of the woods. I mean, you could see him blow up in the next outing. Giolito, you need a great performance from him. Speaking of, I won't call it great, but the bullpen was solid again. Hicks stumbled in the 10th inning on Monday night. But the bullpen behind Fitz, Bernardino, inning and 2/3 scoreless. Murphy, 2 innings, a walk, 2 strikeouts. Weissert, 1-2-3 on 14 pitches in the 8th inning. But the bats have gone silent again. Carlos, Yoshi isn't ready. You know what? Yeah, I think you're right. And he's the left-handed bat in the lineup. You could have Bonds in the lineup. I don't know if it would have made a difference. I'm just throwing that out there. I had another name, but I'm not throwing it out there right now. He's been out there recently. George, Romy is a role player, yes, and has been awful. Think 0 for 20, 0 for 18, but you're close. Not sure with a guy on second. Ref, 3-0 fastball down the middle, just looked at it. Then 2 changeups and whiffs, awful. Yeah, whiffs. I got it. We got it there. William, might be time to sit Anthony for a couple of games, 8 Ks and 9 at-bats. He looks lost right now, and it just kind of happened. Beautiful swing on that double against Wheeler on Monday night. But, yeah, against the lefty, the way he's gone in this series so far over the first 2 games, I think at least he sits to start, maybe comes off the bench at some point in the game on Wednesday. Put Meyer in there against the lefty. Gonzalez should not, and I say this, and I don't mean it with disrespect, but whether it's Narvaez, there's a thing about being overexposed. And I think a lot of these guys right now, I've heard some talk. You've heard it too. Maybe there's an upgrade at first base. Josh Naylor, professional hitter. I was a little iffy on him. Now I'm kind of warming up to it. And I said it the other day. I don't know if you're swimming in the deep end. Alex Spear from the Boston Globe was on with Dave and Lou during the Nesson broadcast. They're still thinking big fish and going after a big-time starting pitcher. I think like Crochet last offseason. He was on the market. White Sox waited till the offseason, got from the Red Sox what they thought was the best deal available to them, and they pulled the trigger. And you do that 10 times out of 10 with Crochet. He's knocking on the door. He's right there with Tarek Skubal in the conversation for AL Cy Young Award winner. But Toro, Romy Gonzalez, Narvaez to a certain degree, and again, upgrade at first base or upgrade behind the plate. Because you don't want Narvaez having a horrible August and a horrible September, and it's just a 50-50 season. If you can balance him out a little bit, and I don't think it's Connor Wong, at least for 2025, and you want to go big splash in the offseason for a catcher, I don't think it'll happen in the division, but all of a sudden I'm reading an awful lot about Adley Rutschman. Would you take a swing on him as him being your everyday catcher for a handful of years going forward? Sign him to a deal? Not going to say team friendly, but he might be out there and available at some point in time. I would certainly make a phone call, and if they say, no, we're not trading him in the division, but they've got a catcher at the AAA level, they're ready to move on. They've had all sorts of injuries behind the plate, but all of a sudden Adley Rutschman has fallen out of favor on some levels. But I really think, nobody's going to fill all their needs. The Yankees are very similar to the Red Sox, multiple needs. You're not going to fill all of them. Every team is going to have something going into the postseason. You just hope that one thing that you're below average on doesn't come back to haunt you too much. But I'd love to see an upgrade at first base. I'd love to see an upgrade just as the backup, not a Danny Jansen like last year, but someone who can, maybe catch 2 games in a row. Right now, you're not putting Connor Wong in the lineup for 2 games in a row. That might suit him. That might actually get him going. But he's only catching once every, 3 or 4 days. That's tough. Where are we? George. It's now 8. That's what they said on the broadcast. 8 and 5 for Carlos Narvaez with the catcher's interference. I really don't want to say catcher's interference again on a Locked On Red Sox postcast this season. Ed, Red Sox look lifeless, which is disappointing. Philly looks like a group of winners. And the Phillies came into the series kind of scuffling as a first-place team. George, Giolito has to show up in the first inning and give us a chance. Yes, he does. Absolutely. Retro dude, Carl Jung, cold bats, and we'll leave it at that. On board with you. Wednesday, off day on Thursday. We'll be on within minutes of the final out of the series finale. Hopefully, we're not talking about the Red Sox being swept. Hopefully, we're talking about the offense waking up, because it has absolutely been shut down so far out of the All-Star break, and certainly over the last 2 games against the Phillies and Wheeler in the bullpen, and then Cristopher Sanchez. Tip of the cap, as always, recognize our sponsors, Open Phone and FanDuel, and a tip of the cap and a great big thank you to you as well, the Royal Rooters. On within minutes of the final out Wednesday, series finale in Philadelphia. The Phillies are going to look for the sweep. The Red Sox are going to look to avoid the series sweep for a second straight series on the road. And they're looking to get out of Philadelphia with a win. Locked On Red Sox Postcast, number one place to hang out immediately after every game. Locked On Sports, your team, your Red Sox, your frustrating Boston Red Sox every day.